Hey everybody, this is your boy Saber Dorado here, drinking at Moe's. We're going to be talking about my introduction into the wrestling world and a couple of other topics that we're going to touch on. So make sure you don't miss it.
This is Drinkin at Demos, where we talk about the pros of pro wrestling in the Midwest while sipping on some brews with blessed beers and wrestling. That's my scene. Death matches and Lucha Libre, it's also mean. I'm a straight up smart goofball, not no kiss ass. I stand tall when it comes to wrestling. I'm the king. I know every move, every fling. Get ready for a wild time with Drinkin at Moe's, where we don't quit. Drinkin at Moe's, that's where it's at, like a power bomb. We hit hard, never flat. Fucking right, we're living the dream. Talking about wrestling, always a scream.
You know, I've always said here at Drinkinatmos, just because it says drinking at Moe's does not mean it has to be alcoholic. So I'm happy to say Drinking at Moe's is sponsored by Prince Nana Coffee. The exact same guy you see every week on Dynamite, on Collision. Yes, he has his own coffee, and it's freaking delicious. They don't even roast those beans until you've placed your order. And you might be telling me, hey, Big Mo, I'm more of a tea guy. They got you covered there too. Use the referral link in the description of this video. And let's get you dancing like Prince Nana with Prince Nana Coffee. All right, everybody. Welcome Drinking at Moe's. Big Mo here. You know the drill. Hit that like button like crazy. We're on the YouTube. That algorithm is a pain in the ass. We're most places to find audio podcasts too. Wow. All right. Yeah. Allergies been kicking my ass lately. Anyways, today I'm excited to have with me Saber Dorado. How you doing?
Doing great, Mo. How's it going, man?
I mean, other than my allergies kicking my ass, I can't complain too much.
Yeah, it's that allergy season. It'll do that to you. As long as you got your good like 24-hour, you should be all right.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I've had some cool stuff come up recently. I got to the Savannah Bananas, the going all over. They're doing Major League Baseball stadiums and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They were recently in Kansas City, and my sister and brother-in-law live not very far away from the Kansas City Royals Stadium.
Okay.
And they recently had a game there, and it's an entertaining time. I'll just say that. And we actually got to take one of my nieces to go to actually go meet some of the players. So it was a good little time getting to be the fun uncle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what they say, right? That's the best part of being the uncle. Like you can be there for the good times. Then when things start to go, you just, hey, here you go, give him back.
Yeah, and that's also the thing. It's funny for me because my wife and we this last Christmas Eve, she gave birth to our son, and I'm like,
Congratulations.
oh, thank you. But yeah, it's been funny because you know I've been telling that joke with people before. It's like, yeah, when you're the uncle, it's like, oh, you can when they're babies, you can holding them and they're all nice and happy, and then like they get grumpy and fussy or whatever, and it's like, okay, back to you.
Back to mom, back to dad.
Now,
Go
now
ahead.
the back to mom or dad is back to me. So it's like, ah.
But no, no, no. You started it. Finish it. It's like, what do you mean? Not yet. It ain't easy, but somebody's got to do it, right?
True, but yeah, no, he's given me some laughs, and actually, he's already been to his first wrestling show because my wife and I met at a promotion here in town, and she, we're figuring out, her and I, oh, when's a show that we could, go show him off?
Mm-hmm.
We found one. He yeah, we had some noise canceling headphones on him.
Right.
But yeah, he fell asleep partway through. But I have a friend in Fightful that does the SmackDown post shows, and one time I went to comment on the post show. I was like, yeah, my son was so excited about the show he peed on me.
Oh man, must have been a good show.
No, I would. From what I remember, it was. But I mean, that
Nice.
whole time period was a whirlwind. Anyways, I could go on even more of a tangent here. The Lord knows that I do that from time to time. But
Right.
first thing I'd like to start off with everybody when they first come on. What got you started as a fan? And then what was the moment you decided to make that leap into the business?
I mean, that's a great question. I think we all like to hear like the origins. Is he
Oh,
even
I love
created
that.
or is he born? So I grew up in the Bronx in New York City, so it's a little rough out here. It's interesting because you see a lot of things out here, a lot of things that I didn't want to see, especially growing up in the '90s. It was pretty rough. Shootings were something typical out here. So it's not that I'm insensitive. You just kind of get desensitized to certain things that
Yeah.
you see. And that should speak of volumes of like how my upbringing was. Staying out of trouble, my family just kind of introduced me to like wrestling. I just kind of remember some of my earliest memories in my life are me with my family watching Hogan rip off his shirt or Hillbilly Jim,
Yeah.
driving these crowds insane, the Bushwhackers, that golden era of wrestling. So that's really where I get a lot of my inspiration and motivation. I had like a few tapes as a kid, and I would watch SummerSlam. I think it was the one with Rick Rude and Ultimate Warrior in the steel cage.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I watched that over and over again, and I also got to see the WrestleMania where Macho just goes through the tournament. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
was a major impact on me. So I love watching tournaments and bracket systems just take place. And I think it's something that's kind of like lost its way in history. I've heard people be like, "Oh, I'm not a big fan of the idea," and I'm like, "That's the most legitimate form of like sports there is. Everything that we do in sports comes down to that bracket system of the very best of the best. So why wouldn't
Oh,
we have a bracket system? You know?"
oh, yeah. No, I, I like, I like it myself because, like you were mentioning, uh, with pretty much every other sport, tournaments for the postseason and stuff. So it's like, yeah, you hear lots of, the detractors of pro wrestling. You're like, oh, the fake stuff. I don't like that term
I'm not a
be
big
per-
fan of it. Yeah.
to be perfectly clear, but you get a tournament in there, and it's almost like, yeah, there's aspects that are predetermined, but then you get the tournament, and it's like, you know, you suspend your disbelief for a little bit because you're like, oh man, who's gonna go to the next round or who's gonna win the whole thing? And yeah, I
Right.
like it because, oh god, one that
I mean,
actually,
like when people aren't even facing each other, like within the bracket system, you see the potential of possibilities. And then
oh
you
yeah,
allow the fans' imagination to kind of like take over from there, kind of like when you're reading a book versus watching the movie. You
yeah,
see the potential of stuff. And then you get a chance as the promoter to get a feel for like what the fans might want to see. Like people will talk about it. Like, oh, they're only in the first round, but what if, this person goes so far and then this person comes this far? Then they'll actually meet up. And now you have an idea. Maybe that's not what you had in mind, but down the line, hey, I can do this because the people want to see it. It didn't work out that way. And maybe we tease it, but it's all part of the storytelling.
oh yeah, you hear about that a lot when it comes to tournaments and in professional wrestling. You see, like, oh my god, these two meeting up in the first round, and it's like, oh man, this could be epic finals between these two.
Right.
And we're getting it in the first round. I know I've heard that on commentary before.
Right.
So when actually making the leap into the business, was there like a moment that you're like, this is what I want to do? Is everybody has, their, again, the origin stories, how they, get into whatever it might be, whatever sport, professional wrestling or whatever, where it's like, what, other things might, come and go, but that is always the constant.
The aha moment. I think just growing up, I've always had a fascination with professional wrestling. It's always the performance aspect, the level of energy. Like you go out there, and it's very unique. And even within other sports, you hear other athletes who come in, football players, bodybuilders, and you had guys from the Canadian Football League come into the WWE and stuff. And you always hear there's nothing quite like professional wrestling. Growing up, I was on different sports teams. I played baseball, I played soccer, basketball, you name it. I was a fan of sports. But wrestling just kind of calls to you when it calls to you. It's that news that just speaks to you. And I like to think that I chose to be a wrestler, but I like to also think that wrestling chose me in its own weird way, because it managed to pull you back too. Sometimes you think, maybe I had my final run. Maybe there's this, and it's like, no, you're not done. So it chooses you too. Growing up, I had a good circle of friends that were just into wrestling. We'd watch the pay-per-views together and stuff. And to be honest, we'd mess around and we'd be in like the school backyards and stuff. We had this little camcorder that my dad had, and we'd record each other, and we formed from even then as kids, like this brotherhood, this forever bond. We're all in a group chat now, and we still talk, and that's from when we were kids. And it was that same group that we decided that we were like, already messing around with the cameras. We already had the idea of the promos and building audiences and how do we get more people to see stuff. And this was like before like YouTube was like fully established yet. So we were like, how do you do this? And we just had the thought of mind to be like, what, maybe we should do this professionally. Maybe we take this into the ring. And we kind of just formed our own little like company. We sold tickets and stuff, and boom, by the time we're 18, we're like in there doing our thing. Now we're not trained yet, but we knew how to put on the show. So that was always great. I officially started training when I went over to IWF in West Patterson, New Jersey with Kevin Knight. That must have been like 2007. And then in 2008/2009, I went over to WUW, the World of Unpredictable Wrestling, with Johnny Rods. And my high school actually pointed me over in that direction. They had asked me on my thesis paper like what I wanted to do, and I had mentioned professional wrestling. And I just happened to go to school up the block from Gleason's. So they pointed me in the right direction. I went over, had to talk with the old man, and Rods was always very like, he shoots forward. He's very clear, and I got along with him really well. I thought it was somebody that I could really learn from, being a 1996 Hall of Famer. He definitely knew his way around the business, his ins and outs, and I can definitely attribute like 95% of what I know to that man, and I'm very thankful for him.
Yeah. And, getting to sit under the learning tree of a guy of that caliber who's like produced some huge names in the business. Like, oh God, what was it? DVon Dudley was through there. That's the one that jumps out, but yeah, he's produced a lot of great talent. So
so just to add, so you got guys like DVon Dudley, you got Tommy Dreamer, you got Njpw there too. And talking about like right now, you got the TNA Impact Knockouts champion. You got Masha Slamovich. She's out of you got Cass. You can't teach that. That's
God's
guy. They're everywhere. wherever there's wrestling, you got a Rods guy, and we're prominent, and we definitely make a name for ourselves here and there. So,
Oh, definitely
and
do.
on the world of unpredictable wrestling.
All right. So going into, noticeable with the mask, I got started watching independent wrestling down in Southern California, like a hub of like lucha libre culture in the States. And like I was in San Diego, so hey, the home of lucha libre culture, just not very far away from me. So I got very spoiled to be in the area for that and getting to learn a lot about lucha libre culture through the friends that I've made down there. Now the masks can be very very intricate. And for a lot of people, there's a story behind their masks and like how they chose the mask or how is there that behind yours? Because I like it. It's very, very, there's a lot to it, but it looks good.
Right, I appreciate it. Yeah. So there is a story to the mask, probably not as elaborate as most people would like, but here we go. I started working over at a Lucha Libre promotion. I want to say 2015. I think that's about the time. And I wasn't with a mask at the time. It was just like, hey, this guy needed a body, and it was like, all right, cool, let's go, do the work. And when I went, he became more familiar with the way I moved and just kind of like my image. So
Yeah.
he thought it would be a good idea to throw a mask on, but they said, you move kind of like a cat. You have this grace to you where you kind of like, what you're doing, and it's like, okay. So we sat on that thought, and they said, come up with something that's feline-esque, something that's
Yeah.
gonna come across. So I'm like, how do I make feline something that people are gonna be like scared of, or something, strike fear or something. And then I started thinking, Marvel superheroes. And I'm like, okay, let's go the superhero route. What are we thinking? What are you thinking? And I was a face originally when I had started, but I started thinking, I'm like, Wolverine is cool. He's smaller. He's compact. I'm like, but obviously I can't go around calling myself Wolverine, and that's not a cat.
Yeah.
So I started thinking, so who's someone real bad? Somebody who really gave like Wolverine a run for his money. There was just like a pain to him always. And of course, the first thing that comes to mind is Sabretooth.
Sabretooth, yeah.
Sabretooth, always in the fight. You never, maybe you knew Wolverine was going to win, but Sabretooth was never like, oh, it's just Sabretooth. It was like, oh, damn, he showed up.
Yeah. It was never one of those where it was like a blowout victory for Wolverine when it came to Sabretooth. It was always close.
Right. So with that in mind, I was like, yeah, Sabretooth, someone who's just like persistent, always on you. So he's gonna stay on you. And that fight's gonna be close, maybe, but it's gonna be brutal. Win or lose, he's gonna take a piece of you with him. So I like the message behind that. I was like, yeah, that describes me pretty well, I think, in the ring, where I'm sharp, I'm tactical, I'm gonna come aggressively, I'm gonna pick my spots, I'm not necessarily just gonna rush in either. So I think it speaks to what's going on upstairs a little bit. And yeah, that's how we came to that name. So we came to the Saber aspect of it. And then I was actually teaming with my partner at the time. So in order to create a duality to it, we added the colors. So I was Saber Dorado, since I was the old one, and my partner became the Silver Saber. So that's why Saber Dorado, because I am one of a couple.
Nice. I love hearing, or like I said, origin stories about stuff like that. Now, Lucha Libre culture definitely a celebrated history that's now. It's weird for me to think, having been in Southern California, where it was like all over the place for Lucha Libre, that some people with some recent events might be really getting their first taste of Lucha Libre culture with WWE purchasing AAA and
Right.
this Worlds Collide event, which, knowing what I do about some of the people from there and the guy that's now the mega champion, I'm friends with some guys some promoters that have booked him, and dude, that guy El Hijo, the Kingo. I'm just gonna abbreviate it right there. But long story short, it's weird for me thinking that some people, when they watch that show, that might be their first taste of Lucha Libre wrestling.
Right. Right. I mean, I definitely remember coming up in my early stages talking to, fans and stuff. And when you're trying to sell those tickets, they tell you gotta go sell those tickets. And hey guys, if you're just starting, go sell those tickets. So you start speaking to fans, you start hearing things, and it's really funny because you think everybody's gonna be like, oh yeah, cool, I'm a wrestling fan, I'll go watch wrestling. You have those diehard loyalists, especially for the WWE, that I've noticed that are like, if it's not WWE, I don't want to see it. I don't want to watch it. And it is very interesting. It speaks volumes to like exposure and what you will see based on what you're looking for and what you're looking at. And we love the WWE, of course. It provides us everything we need every year. But we also need that spice of life, right? The variety.
Mm-hmm.
We had those years when it was just the one company by itself. And as we know, competition is good for the industry. We need someone else to say, well, this is the comparable uh, alternative, just to say, you know what, this is why we're on top. Go watch that. Say that, great, they have their product. We love it. But this is why we're at this level. And you got to be able to have that contrast. But at the same time, when you're that diehard loyalist, you're missing out on some of the most crucial moments for some of these talents who do end up making it and main eventing WrestleMania, which is fantastic. You miss out on their creative stages. While they still got those creative juices that I don't care about my body. I'm still young and I'm in no injuries. I can throw myself. And like you'll see guys do like Phoenix splashes and like 720s, and it's like, oh my God. And by the time they're in the E, they're like, all right, slow it down. We're here now.
Yeah.
Not kill it. Let's make this last. And you want to be a part of the whole story. And with Lucha Libre especially, this will be the first time you're seeing it outside of like an S.A. Rios or Rey Mysterio or Psychosis, Super Crazy, Juventud Guerrero, Njpw Guerrero. You're going to see names for the first time that in AAA have been around for quite some time and have their own legacies in their own right. But if you haven't seen it before, I can tell you you're in for a treat because it's definitely something that I followed, definitely something that helped to inspire this AAA, something that I watched. And a lot of the people that you love now, especially in Lucha Underground, happen to be from AAA. So eyes open.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely, huge Lucha Underground guy. I've been lucky enough to have a bunch of the people that were going through there on from, we talked about Famous B before we started recording. That was a fun one. Getting to have former Lucha Underground champion Marty the Moth on, that was a fun one. So yeah, the Lucha Underground fan of me was very happy getting to do those. So I'm happy to see it. And it's not to say that Lucha shows aren't getting any love around the States. It seems, heck, when putting together my notes for this show, I saw one that was advertised on your Facebook page. I know when just getting back from work, I saw another like one or two. It seems like there's a lot, popping up every now and then. So
But
The
lucky for me, right, that happens to be my market. It happens to be where I get the most work is with these luchador promotions. But yeah, I think especially around now, around this time of year, you get the Cinco de Mayo shows, and then around October you get the Day of the Dead shows. And I think if you've never been to any wrestling show, if you've never been to any wrestling show, and you're in an area that's promising good lucha libre experience, you should probably go. If this is a fantastic time. It's like you said, we advertised one over. I think you took referring to the Cinco de Mayo one that I did. It was actually out here in New York City. We were on a rooftop in Brooklyn. It was insane. You were on the
wow,
top rope and you could see like the whole city skyline. It was beautiful.
nice.
It was a whole experience. We're hoping to be able to do that one again. We have one
I
coming up that I do at Laboon with MWC. It's a great experience. You know, these guys they bring over some of the talent, some of the top names talents from Mexico as well. So you get to see some genuine talent from Mexico if you've never seen that either. And like you said, it's like some people's first time that they'll see something outside of the WWE and just realizing how different that lucha style is, but how athletic it is and how much they give is absolutely amazing. It's a change of pace, but it can be a lot of fun.
Oh, for sure. And it's also with just independent pro wrestling in general for those that don't, you know, have much exposure to stuff outside of, WWE.
Right.
It's a fun time because, to get to sit ringside at a WWE show, you're paying a pretty penny. But for an independent wrestling show, I think the most I've ever paid for front row was maybe $30.
Mm.
So it's like you're getting that close. And you get much like I've heard WWE house shows have been, where people are, having a little more freedom and fun. You're getting that consistently at independent wrestling shows. You're getting that interaction. If you're sitting that close, you're getting that
Right.
interaction with the wrestlers. You're getting included in the show. Like I've had people try to, the typical heel stuff, try to insult your mother. And
Yes.
I'm the type of guy, when I'm at a show, I like to try to get somebody to crack, whether it's a wrestler, referee, whoever. Well, that one time somebody tried, and I just yelled out without missing a beat, "Well, I hate my mom, so." But
Yeah, I mean it's hard. That's funny when fans try to get you to break, and that's the beauty of what we do, and that's the art of it. And I think that's what also helps keep it interesting. You never know how the fans are going to react, and if you're any good at what you do, you're going to be paying attention to how they react. Um, but that's just what makes it that much more fun. They keep you on your toes. You never know what they're going to say, and it just helps make the moment that much more magical.
oh yeah, I've had times where I even got somebody to crack before the show even started. Like they're just setting up stuff around the ring, and I forget who it was, but oh, talking about making people crack, I got to mention this one because conveniently enough, the guy is coming back here to Omaha. Mike Bennett, love the guy, nothing but respect for him. But he was facing off in the main event for the promotion's title, and this was back when the Undisputed Kingdom was going, and Roderick Strong would be yelling out stuff like "Adam." Well, I got Mike Bennett because they were both in a corner, and the crowd had paused for like a little bit. I'm like, oh, I see my opening. I yelled out, "Adam!"
Yeah.
And you could see him just look down, like he had a look on his face like, "You son of a bitch." And
That's my one.
I got to talk with him after the show, and I'm like, I got you, man. He's like, dude, you pop the hell out of me. I'm like, yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
those are those magic moments. You feel connected in that way, like that's the getting to know your fans, getting to know your audience, and then that's when we're all like one big family, right? That's
oh,
when they say we're all connected that way, and that's why that term brother is used in our industry. It says,
oh
we
yeah,
we connect, and there's just nothing like it. It's so genuine, and those genuine connections are the best ones.
oh yeah. And heck, I've even had the opportunity to bring that same spirit into commentary, because I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna bring that same, much like Pat McAfee. I
Right,
make that
right.
comparison a lot. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna bring that same energy that I bring when I'm just sitting out there in the crowd to commentary. And
Yeah.
they were making announcements for the promotions. It's not running anymore, but they were making announcements for the second show. And my commentary partner, I told him afterwards, I'm like, don't give me an opening for a joke. Because he was like, sounds like it's going to be a solid second show. And I'm like, yeah, because nobody likes a running number two.
Oh no. See, that's
He
because you're
had,
sharp, man. You just had to give see that. He didn't really give it to you. You just kind of like you just went for it, man. You went on the shoot, so you got to stay on your toes with you. Apparently, that's good though.
nope, definitely,
I heard it. I
definitely.
was like, "Where's he gonna slip in right there?" He's like, "Oh, there it is." He found it.
So I even got a your mom joke in there,
Oh my
because they were trying to
gosh.
make comparison about somebody doing a move, and they're like, oh, you know who does that better? I'm like, your mom.
Oh man. No. No. That man's mom is a saint.
Uh,
You
no,
leave
no,
her out of
oh, God.
it.
Oh man, now you're getting me thinking of Anchorman. Dorothy Mantooth is a saint.
This is a saint. You leave her out of this. She goes to church every Sunday.
Wow, I need to not laugh so damn hard right now. Anyway, now on to got to talk about some of the other promotions you've been at, and some that I've seen advertised on your Facebook. One was Coliseum Pro. Now I'm loving that when you know even with over 350 episodes now, I'm still learning about new places. What's
Right.
going on there with Coliseum Pro?
Well, Coliseum Pro, I actually got that booking through another company that I was doing work with called New Age Wrestling out in Massachusetts.
That was the other
And
one I was going to ask about.
yeah, yeah. We do the shows out in Boston. Well, not Boston, Springfield, Mass. Is where we used to do them. A lot of the shows are ending up in like Ridgefield Park now from New Jersey. I haven't done a show with them in a while now, but it was through somebody through there that I was able to get the opportunity at Coliseum. That's one's over in Connecticut. That was a good time. Was working over with someone I was very familiar with Jay Vera. Uh, somebody I grew up with, somebody we have a lot of history. So the match was good, solid. I think it's a great place to be. The crowd, is good. It's one of those, more intimate crowds, but I like the space. City's a little low, but nothing we can't work around. This is why we do what we do, right?
Yeah.
But I'd definitely be happy to go back and make my way over there. They definitely have a good set of guys over there with the, you know, good hats on their heads.
Oh yeah. And sometimes those more intimate venues can pack just as much energy as some of the bigger ones, because you get a crowd really packed in there, which I've seen some more intimate venues getting really packed in there. And man, it makes me like, holy crap, I want to be there.
Right. And that's the experience for sure. I mean, whether it's a larger venue or a smaller venue, anytime you see that the place is packed, like standing room only, and the crowd is really giving you that energy. And from my experience, they'll give you what you give them.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you go out there and you're just a dead fish, I ain't clapping for no dead fish. Like the dish might be delicious, but I ain't clapping. The idea is that it's like a contagion. You got to go out there like you got the rage. 28 days later, like you come off foaming at the mouth, whatever. By the end of it, you need everybody foaming at the mouth. So you find some ways to spread that, and then what you give them, they'll give back to you. And I tell you, when those goosebumps start going up, and you feel that energy, then they're shouting things at you. You didn't even have anything coordinated with them, and they're just suddenly your kitty meow meow or whatever. Like it's not my name, but I love that. It's like great, like especially when you hear like the little like 6-year-olds or like 10-year-olds, and they're just coming up with whatever name they can come up with just to get to you. And I love to hear the creativity and just the crowd come up with whatever they can. They're paying attention. That's all I know, and that's great.
Oh yeah, no, the crowd can definitely sense who's really into what they're doing and who's really laying it all out there, because they will definitely give every bit of that energy back. It's plainly obvious pretty much everywhere you watch wrestling. You can definitely tell who's. I hate the term can be somewhat overused, but you can definitely tell who's getting over. Like, just from the reactions from the crowds, you can definitely tell who they're behind. Now, I've talked with people that have done multiple jobs in wrestling. Now, I wanted to ask, because at least on Facebook it says that it talks about being a referee. Now, elaborate there, because I don't want to give out the wrong information, but I was seeing, at least on Facebook, it was talking about like Combat Zone, which, for those that know about independent wrestling, Combat Zone is definitely one of those that has definitely made a name for itself.
Correct, absolutely. So as part of like being part of the industry, I decided at one point to also take that route and explore being a referee as well. To be honest, that aha moment for me came while I was training at Ross. They also helped for me to train as a referee, because I would help with the Lucha Libre matches. Since some of the travelers would come, they would only speak Spanish. So to help bridge the gap, they put me in the middle. But that's where I learned it. The aha moment for me was that infamous incident in London with Silver King, and Perro Aguayo too. So when I heard about what had happened, and not to put pressure on anybody, I'm not shaming anybody, right?
Yeah.
It's nobody's fault. It's tragic what happened. I actually had a friend recently who passed away, R.I.P. Vince Steele. Okay, he passed away in the ring. But when it comes to that, I think that first response, as the referee, you are the first responder. Okay. Yes, there should be EMTs there. Yes, the doctor should be there. Yes, it will take time for the ambulance to get there, perhaps. You are first responder. It is your job to check and look and say, hey, brother, you doing all right? You took a hard fall. That looked nasty. Can you communicate with me? Can you anything for me? Can you something to show me you're here? And that line of defense means so much. And I think people sometimes take it as just like, oh, that Zebra's just there just because he's there to count three. No, brother, you're there to do way more than just count three. Okay. You are the difference between life and death, very literally in those moments, because it takes seconds to get the help that this person needs to survive.
Oh yeah, no,
When I
they can.
saw that, that's all I was thinking about was like, what could this person have done better in that moment? What can I do to personally be in this situation and help someone not go through what the hell just happened in that moment? And I just thought about all my friends in the business, people that I work with, people that I train with, and the difference that I can make just wearing black and white and saying, you know what, I'm there. I know that they're safe. They know that they're safe because God forbid anything should happen. They know that I'm here for them and I'm going to respond.
Oh yeah,
Um, it's very legitimate for me out there. It's not just like a character. I am out there making sure you're safe. There's one thing I do. I speak to all my competitors before they come out. Say, hey, you look at me. When I'm talking to you, I am talking to you. You need to respond. Okay. It's the difference between you okay and you're not okay. When I check on you, make sure you check with me. That's it. That's all I'm asking, you know.
oh
Like,
yeah,
let's make sure that you're safe and I'll make sure you make it home to your
oh,
family.
oh yeah, no, definitely. That is definitely a very important job of the referee in any pro wrestling show because actually, you know what? Perfect example right here. I was watching I I was watching a show for Sammy Callahan's promotion, Revolver. I
Mm.
I go to the shows as much as I can when they kind of for the most part flip between Ohio and Des Moines, Iowa. I go to the Iowa ones as much as possible, but I believe actually this last one was actually in Indiana, and there was a very scary moment in the match between Dante Leone and Myron Reed, where Myron Reed was going for a move that he does all the time, where he like leaps over the top rope and he does kind of like an RKO looking thing to the floor. Well, yeah, it was very scary to watch because uh, something went wrong, and he landed like like that on like the back of his neck, and like I mean that was the main event, so like the show was going to be over as soon as that match was over, but all of a sudden you see the referee go to check on Myron, and you see him putting up that infamous X, and all of a sudden the feed just cut out, and
Yeah.
it left like I saw on social media, it left a lot of people wondering what the hell just happened. Like, is Myron okay? Luckily, referee doing good, checking on him right there. They noticed, yeah, something's not right here. They got him out to the hospital, and thankfully, it ended up, I think, just being a really bad concussion. Which
Okay.
the way he landed on the back of his neck there, that could have
Yeah.
been really bad.
I mean, I'll tell you from personal experience. I used to so amongst the other spots that I've ref, not just at combat zone, I've also ref at GCW.
Mm.
And as you know, they go hard. Those
Yeah.
boys, they really know how to bring it on.
Oh yeah.
We did have a scary moment where not gonna drop any names, right? But somebody did come off the top rope and he came down, I guess, kind of hard on the guy's like head. You just kind of see on the replay when he comes down, he kind of lands on him. And we check on him post the match. The guy had like a full reset, brother. He like that. That's when I was like, this is what I started doing this for to make sure like this guy is out and okay at this point in time. And so everything turned out to be okay. We got him to go get checked out and stuff. It was a concussion, but it's really scary to see. A lot of people, just, you think concussion, you think, oh, it's just like a stinger. He'll be all right. Just a little buzzing, maybe. No, man. Like I've seen people revert. Like they start sucking thumbs, man. Like
Yeah.
they go back in time. They don't know what's up. I had one of my boys. I was in a match. We were doing a triple threat. He got hit with an enziguri. We asked him who the president was. He said Washington Bush. Okay, last I checked, there ain't never been no Washington Bush as president over at Madison Square Garden when we was in Jersey. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Oh yeah.
It's a scary, scary moment. You want to try to avoid it, but if you're, in there, just make sure that they're hydrated. They don't let them fall asleep. Stay attentive. Make sure that EMTs or the doctors get a proper diagnosis on him. Get him to where he needs to get to as soon as possible because it can get worse. It can, it depends also the number of concussions you've had.
Yeah.
That's another contributing factor. Is this your first one? Is this your fifth, seventh one? You could be causing different types of damage to your brain.
Yeah.
And that's part of the scary part of what we do. We are literally putting our bodies on the line.
Oh yeah. That's a very scary part of sports in general. I know, having played football, like I remember I've two concussions that I can remember. One in football, I remember I got like knocked clean off my feet. I go to get back up. I walked like maybe 2 steps, and the next thing I know, I'm on the ground. And the other one, I was actually in the Navy, and there's a reason. My ship I was on was a destroyer, and there's a reason they call nickname those things wall walkers. It is like you get in the heavy seas, and you can get to a point where I've gotten close to where you're almost walking on the walls.
Oh man, these
And
things are those waves.
oh yeah, I remember working on something near a wall. Ship went back, then ship went back again, and then my head went with it right into the wall. And yeah, I remember when we got back to we were out at sea, obviously. I remember when we got back into port, I went and got myself a hotel out in town, and there was a good chunk of that weekend where I literally just stayed in the hotel room, all the lights off, maybe the TV on, not leaving the hotel room, just laying there in the bed with the lights off.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, those can be, yeah, they're not fun at all. I mean, they're not meant to be, really, but
right. I mean, yeah, it's a destroyer. So
yeah. All right.
You ain't there for a cruise,
Oh God, yeah. Oh, yeah. I I've had some interesting experiences out at sea, including
Yeah,
including having to on deployment be up for 4 days straight, not even getting to lay down. All I remember was at one point thinking that I didn't know when one day was ending and the next began. And then last thing I remember was somebody saying, we might want to let him go to sleep now. Because apparently I was loopy as all hell.
Yeah, sleep deprivation will do that to you, right? That's what they say. It's like one of the worst things you could do to a human is just keep them up.
So I swear my sleep cycle's been messed up ever since.
Yeah, that'll happen. You need time, man. You gotta reprogram. I have a system for that because I fall off my sleep schedule too, but I have a system for it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I just literally it may be damaging. I'm not a health expert. Disclaimer. This method is my own personal method. It works for me. May not work for you. May take off your life. I don't know. I've never done any studies. But whenever that happens for me, right, and I just can't. I just make sure that I hold myself up till I can't stay up anymore. But it has to be the point where I knock out. Has to be the point at which I have to go to sleep. About 8 to 10 hours before I have to be up. And that way, when you knock out, when you wake up, you feel fully rested. You have your full reset, and your body will start to adjust to this clock because you now got your full sleep cycle, and your mind is like, okay, when I'm tired again, it'll be this time, and I'll go back to sleep, and boom.
Huh.
It works for me. It's one day of total wreckage, but like the next few days after you line up pretty well.
Hey, might worth a shot. Now I have two categories here that I round stuff off with. One's a bit of a name game where I name off some people. You give me some quick thoughts on them, and I try to theme it towards the guests as much as possible. And, talking
Mm.
about masks and lucha libre culture, each of these guys, big names that work under a mask or have worked under a mask.
Mm.
One, first one, so I give you the name first. First thoughts that pop into your head. So the first one, we talked a little bit about Lucha Underground. That's where I first got my introduction to this guy. And now he is doing big things in WWE. Penta.
Megastar, man. That guy, wow. When you talk about Pentagon, Penta Cero Mio, definitely one of the first exposures was over at Lucha Underground for me as well. But they had the whole Pentagon and Octagon thing over in AAA, so that's actually part of a bigger feud and rivalry that comes from AAA. Pentagon just happened to break through as a more likable personality. Him and his brother Phoenix,
Mm.
they actually did a show over at the spot where I actually started wearing the mask. So before they became those big names in the E, they were still doing some of the indie shows, and the promoter that I told you about brought some guys over. They just happened to be there. They did the one-on-one, and it was fantastic. And we got to meet them, my tag partner and I, and they're brothers, and my tag partner and I happen to be brothers as well. So we had a
Yeah.
little moment there. We were hoping that we'd get to see each other down the line, but never say never. Right? It's not over yet.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a chance one day.
Hey, one day. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Penta is definitely a favorite of mine right now. I just so damn entertaining.
Yeah. That's like what it's a coin of phrase, that ruthless aggression.
No, he
He
definitely had.
comes right. He comes with that ruthless aggression. He brings a lot of attitude, and that's it's a weird balance because they always say, right, you should be humble. You got to bring that humility, but I think the humility you save for the locker room and for the fans when you're interacting. When you're in the ring, you're a competitor. This
Oh,
is a
yeah.
competition. You gotta lay it all out there. You're gonna give it everything you got. So while I'm humbled and honored to be out here with you, I am going to kick their head off your shoulders right now. So no hard
Oh, yeah.
feelings.
Oh, no, definitely. Penta is definitely a good example of that. I love watching his interactions with different fans at different events and, just seeing the stuff he can pull off in the ring. Now, on to the next person. I feel like I have to talk about this guy, especially in like our lifetime when people think of lucha libre in the States and you know heck going to WWE, even Lucha Underground, WCW, pretty much everywhere. When you think of Lucha Libre, I feel like you have to talk about this guy, Rey Mysterio.
100%. And I knew that was coming. You can't talk about lucha libre here in the United States without attributing uh, a luxurious history to Rey Mysterio. I mean, he helped to popularize the style here in the United States. Definitely one of the biggest names of all time to ever grace a mask. Um, and he's so sociable. He's so likable as a character, as a human being, as role model, as a father, husband. And you love to see that, right? Someone who works really hard and you got the benefits of being that good person.
Yeah.
He's rewarded for it. And now you see his son carrying the legacy and being everything that he can. And I think we have a bright future with that moving forward too.
Oh, yeah.
So
And
I mean, I get that comparison a lot. People see the mask, like you said, they think immediately, Rey Mysterio. So I tell people like, yeah, I'm a wrestler too. I wear the mask, and they're like, oh, like Rey Mysterio. And
Yeah,
yes, I'll take it because that's especially being someone of a smaller stature. I'm
yeah,
not exactly, 6'7" out here. So Rey Mysterio was someone who influenced my style into wearing the mask as well, and I did study him quite a bit to figure out how I need to move. How do I go out there with someone like Brock Lesnar or Paul White? Like
yeah.
I'm in trouble out here. I'm gonna need some guidance, and I think Rey Mysterio is just a perfect example.
Oh God! And you think you bring up a moment with one of those guys that, as soon as you brought him up, the image popped in my head.
Yeah.
With Rey Mysterio and Big Show, aka Paul White, where he literally picked up the stretcher board
Yeah,
that Rey Mysterio was still strapped in and swung it like a baseball bat
he's
into
all
the.
that against the post. Oh, I
Uh,
remember that. It was brutal, but that's what it is, right? It's those moments, and then like Rey Mysterio embodies the lucha libre style and the way he moves and the way he works, and it's fantastic. But he also brings to life that WWE ability to tell a story, to
mm-hmm.
really lay that image into creating these monsters or creating this belief of like this fight that's to come.
Yeah,
And that's really where I want to like focus my style is the ability to do the lucha libre aspect where it's physical, but also tell the story that we do here in the United States. That
yeah.
storytelling,
Oh, yeah.
and Rey Mysterio is just a master of that. I can think back to plenty of moments, with him and Eddie, him and
Mhm.
Chavo with the steel chair shot in the I Quit match. Um, the stretcher moment with Big Show. Just winning at WrestleMania, that massive moment. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like there's countless things that you can talk about. You can go for days talking about Rey Mysterio, the
Oh,
biggest
yeah.
thrilling guy. Right?
No, totally. And you mentioned him. He's not name on the list, but he's carrying on the tradition. And yeah, I've given Dom some shit before, but good Lord, he has really been coming into his own. He's really been like, good Lord, the way he's able to draw that heat and that hate from the crowd and really just own it.
Yeah.
You got to respect that.
Listen, I definitely I love that he just has to pick up the microphone. And the glaze is just
Yeah.
the roof is coming off the building. You couldn't hear him talk. He had that moment with Triple H in there where Triple H was out there with him. I feel like he was just out there because he wanted to experience like let's see how loud it really is for this kid out there. And it's like holy crap, like it really is loud out here when he comes out, and it was just a sign of like things to come. And he's gonna keep getting better. A lot of these guys they start early. You remember Randy Orton, right? Then he
Yeah.
came. He was. I remember playing SmackDown. Here comes the pain, and he was like a 76 in the game or something, right?
Yeah.
Then you go play now, and he's like a 90 something. Like he's
Yeah.
one of the greatest of
Yeah.
all time. So everybody's got like their origin story where you're just a pup, you're just a
Yep.
pup in the dog's yard, and then as you come into your state of being, and the more you own it, and the more you learn, and that's really important. It's not just about
Yeah.
being who I am and sticking to this, and I'm gonna only be this. It's just like no, you gotta adapt to survive, right? You gotta
Yeah.
make changes. You gotta be able to listen, keep your ears open when you're being coached,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be your number one asset is your level of coachability. Remember to
Yeah.
always keep
Coachability,
open.
very important.
Take that in and don't take offense. People are just trying to help you, man. If they tell you, hey,
Yeah.
that looked like trash, don't do that. Hey, that looked like trash. Maybe don't do it.
Yes.
Like they're just trying to help you out, man.
Yeah.
So
They're just look at it as they want to see you do better. They're wanting to help you improve. And if they were to just blow smoke up your ass and tell you, oh,
right.
that was great, and blah, 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 you could be just for I got no problem with foul language on my show. You could be basically fucking up all the damn time and never improving and staying the same if people are just blowing smoke up your ass. If you're
Right.
if you're taking it as they are trying to help you improve and get you to where you're wanting to go in the business, then hey, that's what you need to be doing.
I think you're not gonna make it far with a bunch of yes men around you. You definitely need at least that one person, and if not more, but at least one person who's gonna be honest with you 100% of the time and tell you, brother, that did not look good. Please don't ever do that again. Or
Yeah.
work on it, but don't do it again until you know you can do it. Like
Yeah.
first time, like you need that.
No, most definitely. Now, you can't talk about Rey Mysterio and not talk about one of his long-standing rivals. Oh, shit. All right. Technical difficulties. That shit happens. Anyways, I was saying, you can't talk about Rey Mysterio without talking about one of his long-standing rivals, Psychosis.
Right, right, and that dates all the way back to the WCW days, and I loved watching him with the mask on, and he had like the long hair with the horns. The whole
Yeah.
look was very unique, and I always wondered what that would be like to wrestle with horns like that. I always felt like it get in the way, but Psychosis just proved time and time again that it was an obstacle, and he just did what he did, and then when he came over and took the mask off. I think that was a huge culture shock for a lot of us, for
Yeah.
all of them to be, without masks, Hooven too to be without the mask, Psycho mask. And it was the first time outside of like S.A. Rios that you really saw these like luchadors be luchadors just without that masked aspect to them. And I always thought it was funny because I don't know if you remember when Rey Mysterio was in WCW and he didn't have the mask for some time.
No, yeah.
And he had this look, and everybody was like, "Oh, damn! He's got this baby face. Look at Rey Mysterio." But then he came to the E, and then they put the mask back on him. They were like, "Yeah, we like the Rey Mysterio Jr. look and the whole package behind it." Yeah, and when you talk about Psychosis, it's definitely one of those guys to help pave a path for Latino American wrestlers in WWE. That Mexico's faction was always something worth watching. Thought it was always crazy they came out with like the lawnmowers and some of the
Yeah.
and I was like, oh snap, like that's kind of cool.
They just those guys, they actually just had them back Mania weekend back for the clusterfuck. They had them in the clusterfuck.
No, really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go see that.
Oh yeah, I remember watching that. I'm like, oh dude.
That's funny.
But yeah, no, definitely. Now, I'm a fan of this guy because there's just something entertaining about him, and more again going back to the WCW days with this guy, the chairman La Parka.
Yeah, I used to like doing
Yeah, and then playing the chair like it's a guitar.
That's one of those like immortal characters that you're just gonna fall in love with, and think as a kid you see the masks, you see the characters, you see the dancing, and one of those like larger than life gimmicks is just like this is wrestling, like, and no other place am I gonna see something so outlandish. Like, this is professional wrestling, and I'm very thankful to have grown up in the era where we got to see that. I actually just saw the clip the other day where he was with like Goldberg.
Yeah,
and he cracks Goldberg, he gives him the book, and he turns around. He's, yeah, I did it. I hit
Goldberg just
like, what the hell? It's just like it's those moments, and
yeah.
It's parts of history, and we love it. I saw also that they did this whole like tribute, because they did the burial a little while not too long ago. My condolences to the family.
Mm.
But they also did a resurrection ceremony where they had the gimmick come back in the coffin, and they open up, and then he stands up, and he comes out, and it was just like, oh my gosh, like I had never seen anything like that. So it is very touching to think about it in that aspect. You know, you get the okay from the family, everybody's good to go. It's like, all right, cool, this person is worthy. Um, and I always think about it. You know, I think at some point we all think about our mortality and stuff. And I've always thought about it, and I'm like, you know, I'm wrestling now, and I'm able to get to the business now. But like, what about the day when I just can't anymore, or maybe God, you know, forbid something happens and I don't anymore because I'm gone.
Yeah.
Will I be okay with the concept of somebody maybe moving with the mantle and continuing the existence of this character, and like what that would mean after my life is gone and moved on, and if somebody wants to take up that mantle, if someone thinks, hey, I've worked enough with this guy, I know him, and they, you know, want to come up to me and talk to me about it, it's a prospect that I'd be willing to explore. Someone that I can talk to that's really just confide in, or a protege or something, to say, hey, you know, maybe you should carry this on if you want to, and then just let my family know, like, yeah, they're good to go. Like, if they
Yeah,
do,
heck, that would be like, I would think, a huge honor that you made enough of an impact on somebody that they would want to do something like that.
correct, and that's really where you know you want to reach a level where you're reaching people and connecting with them, and I think that's just the highest level of flattery, right? They say mimicry is the highest form of flattery, and someone's going to take up that mantle, you know they're going to do it well, then they, you know,
Oh yeah.
not. I got guys out there right now that have like a similar mask, and they were giving grief when I was over at ECPW one time, and this one guy came through, and he had a very similar mask at the time to the one I was using. And they told him straight up, they were like, hey, you're gonna have to go to talk to Saber about it, because if you're gonna wear that mask, he's gotta okay it, because practically wearing the same thing. And I had to talk with the guy, but I told him straight up, I said, hey, if you think you got it, you can do what you're gonna do, and nobody's gonna confuse you for me, and you do what you do, then go right ahead, man. Like, go out there and kill it. Know that you're representing, and just do the damn thing, brother. Good luck out there, and just don't call yourself Saber Dorado.
Yeah, no, definitely. But
Like,
yeah,
what am I gonna do, right? Like, at the end of the day, I'm wearing my gimmick and stuff, but like, you know, like a tiger mask, you know, it's a very similar style. So who am I to say you can't wear a cat look?
yeah.
Like, a tiger mask, come kick me in my friggin' head right now, and tell me shut the hell up. Like, you know, who am I? Who am I?
Oh yeah.
It's all love out there, though. At the end of the day, right? It's all everybody's touch on the style and what they bring to the table. Everybody does a clothesline, but everybody does a clothesline their way. Everybody does the body slam, everybody does it their way. And everything in wrestling is just that, right? You
Oh,
practice the basics, and just like in any sport, you get good at your basics, how you move, how to execute, and then you start tweaking those little things that just make it yours. And that's how you elevate. You go from there. But you gotta know your basics.
but yeah, basics are very important. All right, now I have some random questions. Some wrestling related, some not, some having pretty much nothing to do with anything we've talked about so far. First, so I give you the question, first answer that pops into your head.
Okay.
First one, and this could be a tough one because, you know, what people have as much of a career as some do, there could be a lot to choose from. Craziest in-match moment for you?
In match moment. Uh like that happened to me.
Well, either to you or you were in the ring when it happened.
Uh Crazy. I mean, there's so many times, I guess. There's Let me think. I got a scar here from just like a one-on-one where I got like thrown into a turnbuckle. The second belt The second buckle had like for some people that don't know, those ropes are not soft. They are not friendly. 9 times out of 10, they are a steel cable with rubber hosing around it. It is not comfortable. Okay, just to get that out there.
Yeah.
And sometimes when the ring's not very well taken care of and there are parts that are exposed, that steel wire comes undone and that thing sticks out. So
Oh,
I don't know if I can show it or you see it here, but
I see a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, that's from that. I got thrown in, didn't know what happened. I was like, okay, I feel something. What the hell is that? I got thrown in again, and I had to tell my boy, like, maybe not throw me into that corner again. Something's going on. I reach back, and I'm like, oh, I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding. I just got stabbed. Oh, crap. So then I'm looking at the ref. I'm like, yo, how bad is it? He's like, I'm like, this is not an answer. Like, I'm bleeding. Like, can you tell me like how deep it went? Like, God, like, is it my pouring? Am I like tripping? So
Yeah.
I think also one of those moments like important to know as a ref. Like, give me a second. Let me check this guy. All right, he's good. So that was pretty crazy for me. We figured it out and we kept going. And the match, went off. We were fine. I had another moment at WUW where we were like midway through this like triple threat match and we had like all these things ready, and the rope broke. Like
Oof.
the top rope broke mid
Oof.
match, and so we had to like audible our like whole mindset from like, especially for someone like me who's like, I gotta bounce off the rope to get this momentum going. Now there is no rope.
Yeah.
I dare not even touch the other ropes because the rope already snapped. So
Yeah.
I'm like, what do we do? Well, I'll tell you what happens when you're in there with a 6'4", 6'3", like Mike Iannuzzi, massive guy. And you're gonna get thrown. You're gonna you're gonna get thrown. And there's nothing really you can do about it. It's just like, okay, that's the audible, that's the audible. And you start to see it. I told you that time my boy got the Enziguri in the head in the triple threat. And he got a concussion. That was scary. But we got him
I
through it.
can imagine.
Big shout out to Chris Taylor for pulling through on that. He's a good friend of mine, and I think he deserves the recognition for that. Because anybody who works through a situation like that and finishes the match, boy, you're a trooper. You deserve all the recognition in the world.
For sure. For sure. Now, behind me, I got some of my hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my collections. Growing up, it was always pro wrestling and Ninja Turtles for me. So like I'm rebuilding my Ninja Turtle collection, and I got
Sick.
wrestling figures and stuff from my favorite sports teams. What is a hobby you have outside of wrestling, if any? Because I know wrestling can take up quite a bit of somebody's time, especially on the independent scene where you're also having to factor in the shoot job.
Right. The shoe job definitely a big part of what I have to do to just do anything. But I love what I do, so that's always good. Love what you do. You never work a day in your life.
True.
I am a dad. I have 3 kids, 3 beautiful children. I love them all to death. And so that takes up also a lot of my time. I love being a dad, though. I think it's the greatest thing anybody can do. If you have kids, spend time with them, tell them you love them, tuck them in tonight, give them a hug and kiss, and just be there. The greatest thing you can do is just be there. And that's all they want. And that's all they'll ever ask for you. Just be there. And there's nothing more special than that. They'll teach you what real love is.
Oh yeah. No, I love with not to interrupt you. I love with my son, especially when like my wife picks him up from we got lucky that her mom retired shortly before he was born. So free daycare. But like she'll bring him back from being there for the day, and I'll go out to help her bring him in. And if he's awake and he sees me like right when I like go to take him out of the car seat, and that smile I get, I'm like, I could literally be having the most shit day before that. That moment right there when that kid smiles at me, it's like, I'm good.
Everything is just falls into place. You start to realize your priorities, and you're like, who the fuck about these car payments? You care about, work stress and all that. This kid, this little fella, this little lady, this little princess.
Oh yeah.
You feel great. That there's nothing better than that, honestly. Like that smile, that look. I think I sleep the best when my kids are here. Um,
Oh yeah.
and
Same.
I know it pains me whenever they have to go or whenever I have to go on, my journeys or whatever. And I always remember that. I always think about that. I definitely have them on my mind before I go out there because, like I said, I lost a friend recently. Um, but he had kids too, and I think that was one of the things that hit me really, really hard is that
Yeah.
I think it's an aspect that we don't talk about enough or focus enough on as part of this business. But we are putting our bodies on the line. We are
True.
putting everything at risk for just a couple of dollars, and for the sheer love of the sport and to entertain who we can when we can to help them have a better day. And unfortunately, sometimes one of us doesn't make it back home.
Yeah. And yeah, that's
There's
the
families.
unfortunate side of things. And
Yeah,
me, I'm hoping, I mentioned that my son has already been to his first wrestling show. I'm not gonna push him to liking the same stuff as me, but I will admit that I've kind of already started some
it happens.
collections for him. Like
It'll happen. Natural. You guys are gonna connect. It's only natural that you have your taste and your preferences, and then your
uh,
child sees it and it's just like, I'm gonna like that stuff too because it makes dad excited. I'm gonna get excited about it too.
oh yeah, because
Natural. Yeah.
I have one of the things right here with me. Boom,
Oh, Michelangelo.
dude.
Let's go.
My personal favorite like anybody that's a fan of the Ninja Turtles, they have their favorite one.
Yeah.
Michelangelo always been my favorite one, and you know
Give it
what?
to Mike. He'll eat it.
Oh, and you know what? That having grown up on the original cartoon,
Mm,
that I have a feeling you're gonna really like this. One
mm.
of I never would have dreamed that rebuilding my Ninja Turtle collection that I would have this item in particular. I
Mm.
actually got to meet the voice of Michelangelo from the original cartoon.
No way. Oh, wow.
And I actually Michelangelo Funko Pop signed by him.
Oh, that's sick. Oh, that is totally sick.
And I had like a solid 10-minute conversation with him after I told him, dude, Michelangelo has always been my favorite.
That's awesome, man.
And
Wow.
you know what? At that same convention that I met him at, I met the guy behind Splinter from the first two movies. And boom.
Oh, damn. Yeah, wow. That's really fortunate. Wow.
And the part that I always remember because it got me laughing was he would ask, "Do you want?" Because he would write something extra on there. He's like, "Do
Mhm.
you want Cowabunga or the famous Splinter line from the first two movies?" Ha ha ha! I made a funny. I'm like, I made a funny, dude. Yeah. So like the that convention right there, the little kid in me was so damn happy
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
though when I was little on the fence going to it, but when I heard those two were going to be there, I'm like sold.
Did you remember that Kevin Nash was the Super Shredder?
Oh yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
how people know. I mean, I think it's more common knowledge now, but Kevin Nash was the Super Shredder in that Ninja Turtles movie, and
That
that was
second one, yeah.
super impressive to look at too. He was all like,
So
wow.
and
Kevin
actually,
Nash, Shredder's super.
one I don't know if you can see it, but like right here, it's like a little
Okay,
above, but speaking of Super Shredder, 30th anniversary Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze Super Shredder figure still in the box.
Sick.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh man. Yep.
I was actually a big fan of Ninja Turtles growing up. Actually, my favorite was always Leonardo. That was my guy.
I can't fault you there.
Swords. I always liked the swords.
Oh yeah, the swords. Yeah. No,
Then what was it? I used to always play on the Nintendo. I had a Nintendo growing up. So I'm a huge gamer, so that's one of the other hobbies I have.
yeah.
Love to game.
Oh,
And I actually got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga collection that came out recently.
oh, dude, I love that.
All the arcade games and all like the timelines and stuff. And I was like, oh snap. I actually had never beat the original Ninja Turtles for NES. I don't know how many people had it back in the day, but it was not an easy feat.
Yeah.
And for some of you who know that game was actually broken. There were copies that went out that you literally could not beat because you couldn't get past a certain jump in one of the levels. I don't know if you heard about that.
I heard about that. Yeah.
There were certain copies that went out that you were literally not beatable. So I think it was cool that they came out with that. I can't remember if I actually beat it now that I have it, but you can save your progress now. It's a thing. You can save your progress now.
Yeah, back during the days of the original Nintendo and the Super Nintendo, yeah, you couldn't do that.
No, you got to beat it. Just beat it. That's it.
Yeah, one sitting. Maybe pause it, but yeah, you had to all in one sitting. Yeah.
There's something left to be said for that type of gaming, you know. That's a throwback. That Super Mario Brothers, you weren't saving, but there was one sitting. You gotta get through it.
Oh yeah. Although, bringing up the Cowabunga collection, I still actually have my original copy of Turtles in Time.
No, the original one.
The original one. In the original Super Nintendo cartridge. I still have it. But I played it on the Cowabunga collection, and it's like I was actually able to beat it. And I'm like, holy crap. Growing up, I think the closest I got was when you traveled, I think it was like the Wild West. I got that far. In the Cowabunga collection, yeah, I was actually able to beat it. I'm like, oh my god! I was like so proud of myself.
You keep hitting start and you get like a bunch of lives. I know one of the games it has like the codes on. You can just keep hitting continue and you got infinite lives. I did that with my kids. We just hit a bunch of lives. And my daughter was like 7 or 6 at the time, and we were just like, yeah, cool, let's get through this.
Or what was the other one that was like a god dang going on a tangent here, but I mean I could go on a whole tangent on Ninja Turtle stuff, but on the original Nintendo, I believe it was the arcade game where it was like the first level, it looked like the floor, the bottom part of the screen was fire and you're having to fight, I forget who.
Yeah, that was the 4-player where everybody come in and you're going through the building and you gotta try to get to the end to save April. April's there, I think, with like Rocksteady.
Yeah.
Rocksteady was a DVon. It's one of them that's rated for you for sure.
Yeah, I forget which one, but yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah. And I actually, you know what? Last Ninja Turtle related one before we go on to the next question. I don't have too many comic books. I used to collect growing up, but rebuilding my Ninja Turtle collection, I actually have the hardback of the entire Last Ronin story.
Wow, that's actually really cool.
And
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, and I also have a copy of the Ninja Turtle comic that's the first appearance of Krang, Bebop, and Rocksteady.
That's tough. That's tough. They're such legendary characters. Like, to have that issue where they first appear is insane. That's insane.
But yeah, that last Ronin one, dude, I hadn't read it before I bought that, but I'm like, okay, this is
The tearjerker, right? I heard I had never read it, but I've heard the like some of the lore, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if I could bring myself to actually read that or anything like
so
that. 'Cause it's like that's rough. That was
it's
rough.
one of those. Yeah, it was a little like growing up on knowing all the turtles and stuff, and then seeing the lore that you've heard about. Yeah, it's all.
I'm not trying to spoil it for anybody,
Yeah,
but oh,
yeah.
it's
I'm not.
a rough one. Buckle up if you've been a long time fan. Buckle.
But when it's definitely one of those that if you get like the hardback where it's like the whole story, it once you pick it up and you start reading through it, it's like it's very hard to put down.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. They were gonna make that into a movie, weren't they? Were they talking about making it a movie?
I've heard both a movie and a video game. I would be up for either one.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely. Now, on to the next question. Now that, like I said, tangents on this show, they happen. But on to the next question. Now, these next two questions both involve either a least favorite or a favorite thing.
Mhm.
First one, I'm not exactly a picky eater, Lord knows, with the belly that I got. But I still have some foods that I'm like, yep, nope, don't give them to me. What is the least favorite food of yours?
Uh, uh, I think the first thing that is like wasabi. I can't even that palate cleansing. Ah, it's just so. If bland had a flavor to describe it, it would be that because it's exactly how your tongue feels after you have it. It's just I can't do it. I know my mother's a huge fan of it. She loves the ginger with the wasabi. She puts it together. She eats just about anything. And I've always thought that, like, kudos to you because there's no chance in hell you get me to do that. I ain't no way.
Yeah, to each their own on that sort of stuff. I like spicy food, but yeah, no, there's some stuff. I know for me though, the couple of foods that I like, I really just won't like. Don't give them to me. I think it's more of a texture thing for me. Like peas, if they're like in like a chicken pot pie or they're mixed in with other stuff,
shepherd's pie or something.
shepherd's pie, something like that. It's like, I can deal with it. But
Peas, no peas. The peas.
yeah,
Okay,
but just straight peas by themselves, I'm like, no,
really.
don't.
I mean, they're like sweet. Like it's like mini candy.
Yeah,
I like them especially with like mashed potatoes. They give me some like meatloaf, mashed potatoes with some peas. Send them down, buddy. Send them down. It's going down.
that I could do because it's like I said, if it's mixed in with other stuff, it's like I can mix it all of that in together and then okay, I can deal with that. My other one and my nieces have even started giving me crap about this one. Deviled eggs.
Deviled eggs. I guess it depends who's making them, right?
I guess it depends on who's making them. But me, the one time my family actually got me to try one, I literally, and I remember it to this day, I literally was like,
It's rough, buddy.
and like I said,
We'll put raisins in there.
My nieces are even giving me crap about it now. Like
You're
they'll
like,
literally
come
come
on,
up to
come
me with
on,
a
it's not
deviled
that.
egg and be like, "Hey, try this." I'm like, "Yeah, no."
You gotta love kids. They are here to like mess with you. They're just trying to figure out how to get you to just again.
Oh God, yep. I think. Oh God, yeah. Nope.
Oh man.
Bad
I mean,
bad
it's fun
memories
for
with that.
everybody, right? Like, my sister opened like a thing of kimchi in the store the other day. My brother was with her, and he was like, I could smell it. Like the whole place was like reacting. And I don't think I've actually ever personally given like a whiff of kimchi because I've already heard like it's a pretty strong scent for some people. So yeah, I don't know. I've never tried it, but I guess it's might be something I steer clear from. Like I don't eat tofu, stuff like that. It's like really like that soy based. Like I can't do it. I'm sorry, guys. Like I can eat
Yeah,
vegetarian food, I can eat vegan food. Just don't give it to me in soy based anything. Like give me a black bean burger, sure, I'll eat that. You know, I'm okay with beans. Soy, no go. I'm sorry, it's just not for
yeah.
me.
No, I can
Like
definitely
tofu
agree.
soup,
Although,
no way.
oh God, you know what I told you about the commentary thing and uh jokes?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Have you heard the joke involving tofu? That's like, what does tofu and dildo have in common?
You got me there. What do they have in common?
They're both meat substitutes.
Uh
I,
Very good, sir. Very good. Very good.
I oh yeah, I heard that one
Yeah,
the other
you
week.
see, you got me messed up now. Oh
Oh yeah,
God.
you know what? I wasn't even gonna mention. Like you brought
Ah,
up
go ahead.
tofu, and I'm like, oh damn it! Oh, now I gotta do it. All right, now with the
Very good.
name of the show like I have, I feel like I have to ask this one.
Mm.
Favorite drink, alcoholic or otherwise, because I've had plenty of people on that for one reason or another don't drink, so I've come up with just because it says drinking at Moe's doesn't mean that it has to be alcoholic.
Okay. So, yeah, I've got a couple. So I guess when I go out for a drink with friends, I don't often drink. When I do, I try to drink responsibly. Everybody out there, drink responsibly.
Yep.
Try not to drink and drive. You got need to call a cab. Call
Yeah,
a cab. Better to make it home safe than not make it home at all.
absolutely.
But when I do go out with my friends and I gotta call a cab home, I go out grab some margaritas. I always like
Yeah.
lemon lime flavor. I got the mask. I got a reputation of alcohol. But the margarita is definitely great for me. I love that bitter taste. Sometimes it's just like lemons. I grew up just drinking like lemon juice straight, no sugar. Just give it to me. So I guess I just carried over. I used to drink Long Island's. Those are definitely like the go homes. Like if you want to just get sloshed quick, like go ahead for a
Yep.
Long Island. I don't drink beers anymore only because it messes with my stomach a little bit.
Yeah.
But I have been known to drink my whiskey neat, no rocks, nothing, just straight. Give
Straight
it,
up.
sip it down. I think it's just a classic. You can't turn your back on that. And
Hey.
then here in New York City, we have a franchise. I don't know if how many other places they have it, but it's a spot called Dallas Barbecue. And there's two things that I get there. There is the wild berry pina colada. I get that virgin. That's actually really good. Like no alcohol in it, just tastes fantastic. Texas size, it's massive. I think it's like 32 ounces of straight drink.
Nice.
Then they have one where they serve you that, but like it's called the Texas Royale. So you get that 32-ounce drink of whatever you want. It's like daiquiri, margarita, Royale. I forgot. There's a couple of different ones, but they put either like a bottle of Moscato or champagne, or if you want the Bulldog, they'll put a beer upside down in your 32-ounce drink. So as you're drinking this wine slash
It
champagne,
goes, yeah.
going in, and you're like one deep, and like you finish it, you get that second one, call the cab.
Yeah, call the cab after
That
that. Yeah.
third one, take it home with you. Do something. Don't finish that there. You might.
Oh,
You don't do it before you got somewhere to be. Those things are
oh
big, and
yeah.
they catch up with you. That sugar does add up.
Oh yeah. I've had some margaritas that, yeah, you want to be careful because they like I don't get the tequila used in them is so smooth you can barely tell there's any damn alcohol in it.
I heard
But
tequila actually extends your lifespan. I don't
hey,
know how true that is, I don't know how true that is. Full disclaimer, I don't know how true that is.
It-
But I had read somewhere that there was a study that showed people who drank tequila extended their lifespans drinking tequila somehow. I don't know what the ratios are, the levels,
yeah.
the scientific methods they use, but
Oh man, yeah. Because I got a couple tequilas that I really like. They're so smooth. It's like you put them in a margarita. There's that whole 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila floor. It's like you have more than 2, and it's like, yeah, you're feeling it after that.
yeah, you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna have a
Oh
good
yeah,
time. And it's
definitely.
because it sneaks in with that juice, and the juice is already bitter. So you don't know what's bitter. It's the alcohol or the juice, but you're just like, I'm all for it. And then if they want to do extra dirty, they put that little sugar on the rim, and now it's extra sweet and extra good. Shoot, they throw some strawberries in there. You might not even know you're drinking anymore. You're 3 drinks, 4 drinks in, and now you're like, why am I on the floor?
You're like, you're so pretty. You, yeah, oh God.
Oh no, I got
Another,
kids. I got
another,
kids.
another movie reference that it wasn't involving alcohol, but I believe, oh God, was it Old School? But it was Will Ferrell, and it was where I forget if it was Old School or what movie it was, but the guy that played Stifler from the American Pie movies was in there, and he was playing some thing where
Animal control guy, right? He
he
was the
he
pet, the zoo,
he ends
the
up,
pet
he ends up shooting himself with a dart in the neck, and he's like, "You're crazy." I literally,
I was definitely old school. If I remember, he was the pet zoo guy, and he got shot in the neck with like rhino trank or something. It
yeah,
was
like
like some wild stuff, and he was
it could pierce the skin of a rhino. I love you, but you're crazy.
just falls into the pool. The kids party. God,
Oh man,
I'm always afraid of something like that happen. You know, you're at the
I've
kids party and just doing something just completely asinine, and you're just like, oh, my kid's embarrassed.
I've yeah, I've had my crazy drinking moments. I've had them. I've had where my high school classmate of mine had her 21st birthday, and I went along on the bar crawl they had for their 21st birthday. I remember leaving the last bar. I remember walking up the stairs to the house we were all staying at. How I got to the house, I don't remember.
Huh.
I
Yeah, that's black out of people's memories for some reason when they're like that level of drunk. It's just like I remember I had a good time. I remember had drinks, margaritas. Okay. I don't remember getting home, but I woke up in bed. I remember that. So it's like, what happened for me? What's going on in the brain that it's like everything from here to here is cool, but then from here to here is like,
yeah, and you know what?
who
That
takes
actually
memory
reminds
that?
me. That
Who's in
actually
control?
reminds me of one of my other ones. My youngest sister's wedding. Last thing I remember was somebody, as everybody was leaving, asking me, "You good to drive home?" And I just remember telling them, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm good to go." Next thing I know, I wake up completely changed in my parents' basement, laying on the couch, and I had like a dude, where's my car moment where I literally was like, holy crap, where's my car?
No
How did I
decision.
get here? I run up the stairs, look, and it's parked perfectly along the curb. And I'm like, sweet. I go back
Decisions
downstairs
were
and,
made for sure, with or without you. Decisions were
but hey, and like I said, I don't condone drinking or driving. Lord, everybody makes mistakes, though. But I did fare off better than some of the people that were in the wedding party because it was in small town Nebraska, and there were people passed out along the curb trying to walk to their hotel.
And you do what you gotta do to get there, man. Like I've seen some wild nights too. I've seen some my share of stuff too. So
Oh God,
as long as everybody was safe and okay, and you know that I don't knock them.
oh
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure when we're all at that level, we've all done some things we ain't proud of, you know. And,
yeah, yeah,
as long
no,
as we're all okay, yeah, there it is. The A-okay, there it is.
yeah. All right. Last but not least, here, best advice you have for anybody wanting to get into wrestling.
So I've I've seen people come and go. I'm 37 now, just turned 37, and I can tell you that it's not easy right away. I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, it's not easy. It's not easy. Don't think you're gonna come in here and people are just gonna love you, and it's gonna be the easiest thing you've ever done ever. No, you could be a natural talent. I've seen guys who are really good that never made it. You know, I've seen people come and go. Like I said, you gotta keep a positive attitude. You gotta keep your head on your shoulders. Don't let anybody bring you down. Try to make good decisions, good sound decisions that you can be proud of later on. Try not to do things that you're gonna grow to regret. You know, when you need advice, look to your elders that would know better, that do know better, even though sometimes we know that there are people who just don't mature. Avoid those people. It is okay to connect and make friends, but you're in this business to make it. And I can tell you right now, this business is like modeling, it's like TV, it's very competitive. Typically, there's only one spot. And that one spot, they have an idea of what they want to put there. And do you fill this spot or not? And that's the question. And
Yeah,
if you do, then that's fine. Your friend might not fill a spot that they needed, so your friend might not be able to come along with you. So get
yeah,
used to the idea of doing stuff on your own as well. But definitely create your networks. Create a good support network. Really, like just like college. You know, you don't go just to sit at the desk and listen to what the teacher has to say. The time that you get out of it is the time that you make out of it, right? You got to put in the hours to get something in return. So just keep driving, keep pushing. I knew people who started, they didn't know their left from their right. You know, people who came in, they were shy. They didn't know, they'd never been in a fight before. And I'm going to give you guys a gem. And this is, I've given this to some people, and these people have used this advice to move on to succeed. You never been in a fight before, put your hands up. Guard your grill. Protect yourself all the time. Second, if I can come into this ring and I can move you without using my hands, you have a serious problem. You need to learn to defend yourself. I will have this method where I get into the ring with people who tell me it's their first time ever and say, okay, let's move around a little bit. And, you know, everybody does that walk around and they want to go for that lockup right away. I don't even give you the lockup. I do this method, have this method for training new students where I just literally, I just walk up to you. I walk up to you with my hands down and just like put my head to your face. And if you don't protect yourself, I will back you all the way up to the point where you want to walk out of the ring. And then I'll ask you straight up, why did that happen? Why did you do that? Say, oh, I didn't know what to do. So you let me push you with my face? My
yeah,
brother, protect yourself. Protect yourself. We are in a fight out here. Yes, it is. The business is what it is. I'm not going to speak too much on it. It is what it is. But when you're out there, you don't know, especially when it's the first time working with this other person across from you, you don't know what they're capable of. If they're out there with malice, maybe this person's out there to hurt you. Maybe they want to, make a point in the locker room or something. They may be new. Protect yourself at all times. I'm not saying be a jerk. I'm not saying hurt anybody. Keep your hands up. At the end of the day, these people came to see a fight. That's what they're here to do. That's what you're here to do. You're here to put up a fight. Don't just give it up. Stay strong. And if you're big, please don't go down. Try to stay. That's always my advice to the big guys. I work a lot with big guys. And if there's one thing I like to make sure is that when these big guys go out there is stay freaking big. Stay big. Especially you 7 feet tall, brother. They can't even teach that. No matter how much I want to make my guys a monster, I can't make them 7 feet. So when you have that advantage, keep it, bro.
No, yeah.
Invest in it. Make that your whole thing because win or lose, you will still be 7 feet freaking tall at the end of this. You're a spectacle. People will line up just to take pictures with you, bro.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Why are you falling more than maybe like once or twice the whole fight? Like I could see you stagger. I can see you maybe to a knee. But like, bro, protect your image. You're 7 feet tall. Stay the monster.
Make it one of those things where it's like if you're one of those big guys and if they're gonna knock you down, you make them really work for it. Because
and then it's like it's the moment, right? You're facing a 7 foot guy, and David went to fight Goliath, right? And everybody was expecting Goliath to just smash David. And David comes out with his slingshot. There's your build up, You got Goliath marching, and David's just here. Oh, this ain't going to be good for David, or is it? No, David hits this shot. It's like boom, boom. Goliath goes down. How many times in that fight?
One
time. Goliath went down one time in that fight. And we talk about that fight to this day. To this day, that's probably the biggest fight of all time that anybody can think of. David versus Goliath. It is the number one comparison you get when it's big guy.
The small guy, the big guy, yeah. Every time.
And if you learn anything from that moment, that God blessed moment, is that it takes one fall from that giant to tell that whole story. And that's all it took.
Yep.
It wasn't David kept putting Goliath down and Goliath kept getting back up. It was not.
Nope.
One shot, one kill. This little guy put that big guy down.
Yep.
Damn, and when he went down, he went down.
Down and out. Yep.
That's a story to tell right there.
For sure. All right. Before we go, where can people find you social media-wise? So if they don't already have their eyes on Saber Dorado, they can go ahead and get them there.
So on Instagram, I'm Saber Dorado, SABERDORADO. You'll see the guy with the mask on. There's also Saber Dorado on Facebook. So you can find me there. Definitely, if you want to reach out for bookings, you can reach me on either platform. Very happy to always talk to any new inquiries or fans, anybody who just wants to talk. My line's open, and I'm happy to reach out to you guys.
All right. We'll get all of that in the description. But that is about all I got. Thank you for taking time to talk to me tonight. Been an absolute pleasure, and you're welcome back anytime.
Appreciate that, Mo. Thanks. Real quick, I hope you don't mind, but I have a show coming up out here in New York City, I guess, if anybody's around. We were just talking about the Lucha Libre shows, and we have one of those shows actually coming up over at La Boom on, I want to say, June 14th. So we're going to be over at La Boom in Queens on Northern Boulevard, 5615 Northern Boulevard. So if you haven't seen any of the Lucha Libre aspect that we've been talking about here today, you're a big WWE person wondering, hey, what are some of these talents from AAA like? And you like to meet them in person in a more intimate setting. This MWC show on June 14th is exactly what you'll be looking for. Hablamos español también. Si quieren venir, el 14 de junio en La Boom, en Northern Boulevard, el 5615 en Queens, New York. Por favor, que vengan a disfrutarlo todo. Gracias.
Now that issue I have with the fucking button.